So Plastic Man #1, 2018, is part of a 6-issue miniseries, and I honestly didn't even know this book was coming out until like a couple days ago. So somebody on my Instagram feed showed a picture of it, and I was like, "What? They're making a Plastic Man book?" Plastic Man is one of my all-time favorite characters, so I'm really kind of ashamed that I wasn't aware that they were making this book. But honestly, I don't keep up with comic book information as much as I probably should have, especially since I try to proud myself on being a comic book reviewer, up and coming comic book reviewer. I should probably do a better job of keeping up with new releases. But regardless of all that, I really enjoyed this book. I was really looking forward to it. It instantly became the top of my anticipated reads for this week, and probably the rest of the month. And I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really fun. It's got an interesting mixture of elements and just themes and tone, and I really think it works well in the end. As soon as you open the first page, I'm instantly drawn into the book because it has a very original Golden Age Plastic Man feel to it. I mean, you see some gangsters here. You see a guy in the back who's wearing red. Obviously, he's probably Plastic Man. Just from the first glance, I'm like, that's probably Plastic Man, as the old O'Brien, his secret identity, because he always wears red. And you see like these mobsters. They look very old school. They're in the alleyway about to beat them up with a bat. And there's you got this girl is all dressed up like she looks like she's a 1940s woman going out to a party or something. It just feels very Golden Age. But then you find out in the next few panels that there's normal modern cars driving around. It's a modern era. There's even references to the Justice League and stuff. So it's definitely a modern time period. But it has the vibe. Like all these criminals have the vibe of 1940s gangsters. There's even like lingo, like different talk that sounds old fashioned. It's a very interesting mesh of time periods. And I really enjoyed that there's some callbacks to the Golden Age run. Like the city that they live in is called Coal City, which is a reference to Jack Cole, the original creator and author of Plastic Man and artist for Plastic Man, the original stories. We also see that at the bottom of the picture of the we also see at the bottom of the panel the name Plastic Man is written, but it's written in the form to look like it's puddles of water on the ground, and you can even see the mobster dude. He's stepping on, I think, the T right there in the first panel, and I love that because that's a callback to the original stories. Jack Cole would always draw the Plastic Man title card, and he would always kind of place it somewhere in the picture as a part of the picture. It'd always be like, it might be twigs making a name or something. It'd always be something in the picture forming a name. So I really just enjoyed those couple callbacks. They were really nice, especially for someone like me who's read a lot of the Golden Age stories and really appreciates them. I appreciated the author or the writer, or whoever come putting those nuggets in here. The story does retell the origin story. I don't know if we really needed the origin story retold again because I feel like most people that are going to pick up this book know his origin story, but they retell it in a slightly more modern way. They kind of leave out the monks and all that. It's the stuff that made it more far-fetched. Well, I mean, his whole origin story is far-fetched, but they do leave out they leave out the monks that made it a little bit more far-fetched. In the monastery that was right by New York or wherever he was at. You know what I mean? Plastic Man has always been a comical character, and that's mostly where his appeal comes from. But usually his comedy is more PG. It's more it's more wholesome. Here it's they've kind of they go for some juvenile humor. They go for some like adult humor. Sexual innuendos and stuff is pretty often in here. As you can see in this panel, Plastic Man he's got like a day job or night job as a night manager at a superhero strip club where all the strippers are dressed up like comic book characters. Or you see some male strippers dressed up like Batman here, and then a female stripper dressed up like Catwoman on the poles, which is kind of weird. And Plastic Man does make a joke about how he gets to look at people dressed. He gets to look at naked Batman all day, which is and he says he likes that. Or I don't know. It's just kind of funny. Like they're trying to hint at. I don't know if they're trying to hint at his sexuality or what, but or if it's just a joke. But who knows? But it was a funny line nonetheless, and it's some funny visuals to see all these people dressed up like superhero strippers and stuff. There's a couple like dick jokes in here too that don't really work for me that well, but I mean maybe some other people find them funny. For the most part, it's a funny book though. I mean there are plenty of little gags. Plastic Man has a funny little gag about torturing people like Batman and all this. He takes some stabs at Batman definitely in this book. Uh, the story does take an interesting turn though. It gets a little bit more superhero-ish when an agent of Spyro pops up in Plastic Man's bedroom while he's sleeping and tries to recruit him into Spyro because of his unique ability to infiltrate and disguise himself as people. And that's a cool turn. And the last couple panels takes a really interesting turn. I won't get too much into spoilers. I already kind of spoiled a little bit there. Didn't really mean to, but This book does seem to be a soft reboot for the character. Like, it seems like this is right after his origin, and that he hasn't really been a superhero very long. So I'm kind of weird on where the timeline is in the greater DC universe, because they make it sound like he's never really met the Justice League, or he's never been part of the Justice League yet. Even though we know that in the normal continuity, he's a long-standing member of the Justice League. So, and I like his philosophy towards the Justice League in this issue. He's kind of got a love hate relationship with superheroes in this story. I really enjoyed that because he is a reformed criminal. He's a recently rehabilitated criminal. So of course he's going to have a very unique and different stand on the whole superhero ideology that most characters would have. And that, and going all the way back to the original days of like his Justice League run when he was on the Justice League, that's the reason why Batman even recruited him in the first place, is because he was more of because he's someone that's walked both paths. He knows how criminals think, and he's been in their circles before, and that's why Batman wanted him on the team, because he's kind of been on both sides of the street, as as you say. So I really did enjoy this book overall. I think it deals with some interesting, serious subject matter while also having a few jokes to throw in. I don't think it was quite as funny as Plastic Man usually is, but it was a welcome departure nonetheless. I mean, it had just enough comedy to make it feel like a Plastic Man story, in my personal opinion, but that's fine. I definitely enjoyed this book, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting the rest of the 6-issue miniseries. And so, yeah, that's my review, guys, for Plastic Man #1. Let me know what you guys think. If you like this issue, if you're thinking about getting it, definitely I would recommend checking it out, especially if you like Plastic Man. And this is also probably a good starting off point for the character. It's basically a soft reboot, so definitely a good starting off point. So yeah, see you guys later. And as always, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for checking out these reviews. I'm definitely gonna be putting out more and more as the week goes on, so check them out.